This is a groundbreaking bottle for Barrell Craft Spirits. Let's see how good it is. Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Bourbon Hutch. Thanks so much for joining me on this journey through the world of whiskey. So today we are doing a review of Barrell Foundation Bourbon. If you've been following the channel for any amount of time, you'll know that Barrell Craft Spirits is one of, if not, in the top 3 or 4 favorite brands for me in terms of whiskey. I just love what they do. Pretty much every product I've had from them has been stellar. This bottle represents a break from their typical mold. So usually, and since their inception, Barrell Craft Spirits has really stuck to only doing things at barrel strength. It's part of their kind of mission, their credo in a sense, but they're breaking away from that with this bottle. So this is Barrell Foundation. Like I said, it is 100 proof. So we're used to seeing anything in that 120 range from Barrell, but this is coming in at that more sippable 100 proof. It's also got a big age statement right on the front that says aged 5 years, which we know means the lowest aged product in here is at least 5 years old. One of the greatest things about Barrell Craft Spirits is their utter transparency. So they tell you right on the back here that this is distilled in Kentucky, Indiana, Tennessee, and Maryland, that the components are a Kentucky 8-year-old bourbon, an blend of Indiana 5, 6, and 9-year-old bourbons, a Tennessee bourbon 8 years old, and a Maryland 5 and 6-year-old bourbons. They kind of derive the mash bill for you and tell you what it all comes out to be, which is 73% corn, 23% rye, and 4% malted barley. So you gotta love the transparency, just telling you outright exactly what you're looking at in this blend. A lot of other blenders, distillers don't do that. So good on Barrell for being that transparent. So the question is, with this coming in also at a price point of $60 MSRP, much more affordable than a lot of their other products, which sit more in that like 80 to 90 to 100 range in most places that I've seen. So this steps it down in proof, also makes it a little bit more affordable. Let's see how good the whiskey is, and if veering off from the way they've always done things is a huge step in the right direction for Barrell, a great gain, or maybe a cause for concern. All right, let's dive into the whiskey on the nose. Wow. Very vibrant. It's the first word that comes to mind. A lot of like a floral and honey and really nice like lighter vanilla extract coming through. Some cherry, brown sugar, but lighter brown sugar, kind of like a sugar cookie coating. And then something really interesting in that like citrus realm. I don't know if it's lemon, maybe a little bit of like a melon quality. It's pretty interesting. Really nice, really vibrant and lively, and I wouldn't say youthful, but more on that bright side of things, which is kind of interesting. I don't know if I was expecting that. Some of this has some older 8 to 9-year-old stuff, but it's giving off this lively presence. All right, let's go in on the palate, see how it tastes. Cheers. It's nice. That vanilla extract is really there, especially on the back end. Getting a lot of that, kind of like a whipped cream, vanilla ice cream kind of note. It's got a lot of that honey, brown sugar, cherry, but in particular, I'm getting more like a berry, like a raspberry kind of quality to the fruitiness here. And that's where it tends. It tends in that fruity, honey, vanilla direction, which is nice. And then I would note there's like a distinct amount of spice on the palate that wasn't even detectable on the nose. It's a lot more rye, tingly all over the palate and on your tongue than I was expecting. So let's go in for a second sip now that we've got it on the palate and see if we can pick out some new flavors. Cheers. Yeah. Wow, this really has nice balance. Came forward with some oak and some like lemon cake qualities there for me. So a little bit more citrus, a little bit more floral. And then the back end really kind of kicks up with that spice and goes in this more rye heavy direction. So you kind of get this nice progression throughout the sip where you start sweet, maybe a little bit more heavy. Then you get these like light fruit notes, and then the spice really kicks in. This is dang good stuff. It's also very easy to sip on. That 100 proof does lend itself toward that, but it doesn't feel thinned out necessarily. It maybe isn't quite as pungent or punchy as their barrel strength options that I've tasted. Some of those have just really explosive flavors, but it is really nice and balanced and sippable. All right, which is probably exactly what they were going for. Okay, anyway, let's go in for a third sip. I'll evaluate the whole experience and we'll focus really on the finish now. Cheers. Yeah, again, very similar. A little bit more of that melon quality came through for me on that sip. And then again, the back end, I'm getting more of that oak, spice, and this time maybe layered in like a little bit of like a leather tobacco kind of aged presence on the back end. So again, you start with these like bright fruit qualities, really nice kind of citrus floral essence, and then it's spicy, oaky backbone really kicks in on the back end, which is really, really nice. Again, I think others across the whiskey tube community have been singing the praises of Barrell Foundation. I'm a little late to the game to review it, but honestly, it is really, really good, and all the hype I've been seeing is justifiable, especially when you consider this is coming in around that $60 mark and hopefully will be a little bit more affordable and available for all of us. I do want to thank Barrell Craft Spirits. They did send me this bottle, which is just incredibly generous of them. They've been one of the more generous brands in terms of doing that for me, so that's been awesome. But honestly, that doesn't really bias. They're not paying me or anything like that. I just think their products are awesome, and I'm always happy to shout them out when they come out with another great blend, which is exactly what they've done here. So let me know in the comments below, what do you think of Barrell Foundation if you've been able to try it? What do you think of the whole sort of methodology here of Barrell deciding to break from the norm, not do barrel strength and do something more sippable? I've also heard some rumors that Barrell might be, I don't know, they sold off a rick house or maybe their production facility, something like that. I know they have the Stellum line that has kind of had a shaky start or maybe an unknown future. If you've got any more information, let's start a conversation around Barrell Craft Spirits. All right, everybody, that's going to do it. Thanks for sticking around to the end. If you have, hope that you're having a great day and that you've been sipping on some great bourbon. Till I see you guys again for another video, all I can say is keep drinking good whiskey and cheers.